Hey guys, welcome back to OverTakes. This is Misfit.
And I'm Kel.
And we are here with our second preseason preview. We're going to be doing the Atlantic South, which is going to be one of the weirdest divisions. Let's just throw that out there. It's going to be interesting. But first, of course, what's a week without a bunch of news and people leaving desk jobs and all of the he said, she said bullshit.
It always has to come back to Fred Durst with you.
Give me something to break. Anyway, I'm not even a Limp Bizkit fan, but the song just came into my head when I go on Twitter. Every time I go on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So first off, let's talk about the latest. So we had Malik leaving this week. That was kind of a surprise to me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I liked what he did. He brought like a cool energy to the show, like the Watch Point, and he started off doing like the interviews and all that stuff, and he did all those when they were doing like the commercials with taking the guys on the ride in the Toyota and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I really dug that. I thought that stuff was really fun. Kind
of the comedians in cars doing coffee or getting coffee type thing.
Malik and Badosin in a car not knowing what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the title of the show now.
I mean, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
I did see him. I figured he was going to stick around, but at the same time, I'm not all that surprised, especially considering what a lot of things have been said from everybody that's left up to this point, is that it was basically strictly financial. These guys were not getting paid what they feel like they should be getting paid.
And hey, if you feel like you should be getting paid something you're not, and you're adept at other things, you can move on. Exactly.
And that seems like what this situation was. With Malik especially, I mean, he even came out basically and said that is exactly why he's not coming back. So I get it. Hey, you got to do you.
Yeah.
It sucks, but now it's at this point where we're just like, okay, all these people are leaving. Like, there's got to be some kind of announcement or anything of who's going to replace all these people.
Yeah. Well,
and how this is all going to be formatted.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting part. Well, I know ESPN said that they hired some people. I hope to God they're Overwatch people.
Right, and not just
Just randoms.
Yeah.
I don't want like a random MC. I don't mind like a random esports guy because they kind of can get into the thing and jump in. I mean, there've been
don't bring in somebody who doesn't really know video games or very vaguely knows video games just because they've got a good face and a good, like, they can control a room. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to translate to this. Like, basically, ESPN, don't do what you did, 4 or 5 years ago when you fired all your talent and just brought in people who didn't really know sports not that they didn't know sports, but you just brought in younger, cheaper, better looking people. Please don't do that. But I get the feeling it's kind of the way it's going.
Right.
But hopefully, at least from the desk side, we do have the confirmation that that Custa's going to be there. I believe Zoe also said that she is definitely coming back.
Custa, this season's Michael.
Yeah.
That's all we're going to talk about that because it really wasn't that big of a deal. But
yeah. And then who else?
Zoe and, I mean, do you throw Hex on there?
Yeah. Do you have Hex there, or do you bring somebody in to pair with Hex? I wouldn't be surprised if they... Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say, is a Vast. Bring in a Vast and pair him with Hex. I think that would be a good match.
I think there's a lot of places they could even have those two on the desk with Zoe and Custa, and I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
They know the game. They like the game. See, I don't mind some of this stuff.
Right.
I want people that have the same passion for the game that I have.
Right. Same.
And it's some of it, season 1, they brought in Crumbs from League.
Yeah.
He kind of was bleh on Overwatch.
He really was. Yeah, he just didn't like the game. Same. Yeah.
And some of these other guys that are leaving, it wasn't their main game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's okay. You know, go do what you got to do. Be the villain. Go do other stuff and not care about what goes on here. That's fine. I'm to the point now where it's like, all right, girls and boys and whoever else is involved, dogs, cats that have exited the building, just go about your business and leave us alone. Mm-hmm. Thanks for your time. We'll see you down the road somewhere. You know, it's like, I want everybody to be happy. You do what you got to do. Let us do what we got to do. Let's do this breakup like adults and not like 15-year-old children.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people are doing. Named after breakfast sandwiches.
Oh God.
That's all I gotta say about that. I like that guy anyway, so because I like his form of asshole.
Fair.
All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, we're just kind of waiting. We're just waiting to see who the new talent is going to be. In the meantime, we've had a couple of roster moves.
Yeah.
The big one being Bedosin getting signed by Seoul, and honestly, the more I look at Seoul's roster and the moves they've made,
I'm kind of shaky. Yeah,
same. Like,
I think they're going to be in the playoffs, kind of. We'll talk more about them in a couple of... They're too good. They have too good of players not to, but there's a couple of gaps where you're just like, there's nobody with profit.
Right. Like, that's the thing is,
well, like... Well, not nobody. There's okay guys with profit.
Right. But at the same time, like, this just screams like that Nets team that the Nets tried to put together with all the guys from Boston after they won their championships, after they had clearly passed their primes.
When they got Garnett and all those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
when they got Garnett, and was like this just screams that to me, where you're just like, okay, you're assembling this roster, and like, yeah, Profit's probably going to contribute, and he's going to be really good. But are the rest of these guys going to be good enough? I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to definitely talk a lot about them. I like it and I don't. There's things. There's just things like in my brain. I'm going, this could work. I'm like, but it didn't work last year.
Right.
With the same scenario. They're like your core and they didn't do fuck all.
Yeah.
Except for Prophet, who just can wake up in the morning and does everything, as far as the game is concerned.
But but that almost makes it worse because then once again you're just wasting another year of Prophet.
Yeah. We'll see. The thing is Bedosin mechanically is so fucking good.
He is.
That's the thing.
It really has the potential to be great. I just don't know, based on past performance from everything we've seen from Seoul, if they can get this team to that. I think that's the real key. Is like, are they going to have the structure and the resources to get the most out of this team that they can? And
I'm wavering.
If London didn't, I'm very hesitant to say that Seoul is going to.
The only thing is maybe these guys being at home or close enough to home is a difference maker.
Yeah.
The only thing I worry about too sometimes is what shit like this, and you've seen this on other teams like in other sports, maybe not the Nets, but when you bring a few guys in from another team, there's division. Mm-hmm. Like a little bit of, these guys know each other, so they're hanging out. They're not really interacting with the other guys. You know what I mean? I don't want it to get to that.
Definitely.
Like, there's been times where teams have traded for, like 2 or 3 guys from, like, in football. Like, they trade, we picked up, my team did it. I think when didn't turn my phone off. Headshot. They traded for your whole defensive line. That might have been McDaniels. Or no, that was actually that was Shanahan. When with Courtney, what's his name? God, it was a long time ago. It was like 2005.
The guy that we had?
Yeah. We traded literally traded for your whole defensive line.
Was it Courtney Lee?
No, it was your first round pick. It was your second first round pick, that fucking dude.
Courtney Brown, maybe.
Courtney Brown, that was it.
Yeah.
It was that whole defensive line. And it created a rift on the defense because they were, on one team before. They all knew each other, and they kind of just fucks given were zero as to what was going on there because they were all buds.
Right.
Like with the other guys.
On top of that, he was the type of guy that came from a team that hadn't really been winning, and unfortunately, when you come from that, that just not being a winner, just kind of permeates.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's one of the reasons why they brought Badosin in too. Is you have a permeation on every line of winners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be the exact opposite. I mean, we'll have to see. That wasn't. Maybe it was part of the deal, and we just didn't know. Yeah,
it could be.
I'm not going to say anyone picking up a Dosen's doing a bad thing. It's hard. It's a weird dance with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll talk more about them on the last of our preview episodes. Actually,
we will. Yeah. There was a couple other roster announcements, but honestly, Chengdu announced some people, but it just kind of seems like it's guys that are just there to fill in some spots here and there.
I mean, who knows?
Same with the Valiant announcements. I really don't think they're guys that are going to make an impact. I still think the Valiant are going to be bad, so it's not going to really make an impact.
Yeah. Their power ranking wise, they're towards the bottom.
Yeah,
gotta be. Maybe they surprise you. I don't know. Some people are high and I'm not, but whatever. They're just weird. Did they pick there was another guy they were going to pick up that was like KBS or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God they didn't pick him up and have KSF, KBS, GIG. Holy fuck, dude.
Right. Oh my God.
All they need is BQB.
And XQC.
Everybody, the only way you're getting on the Valiant is if you have fucking 3 random letters.
3 random letters. That's our team.
Just gonna call it Random 3.
I mean, they are the LAV, so
yeah, Lev.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's pretty much it on player movement.
Yeah, I mean, we're slowing down. I mean, there's going to be a couple weird ones here and there, kind of like Gamsu at the beginning of last year.
Yeah, there's going to be more movement, but honestly, I don't think any movement that we're going to see is going to make that much of an impact. Watch us say that, and then there's going to be a guy that's going to get picked up that is going to be huge and go off. So who knows? Sparkle
and Glister are going to Florida.
Yeah, right.
I just woke up. Oh, okay.
So the next thing we want to talk about, we're just going to touch on this briefly because we do want to get to our preview. But
yeah, and feel free to comment, and we'll talk more in chat or on Discord about this.
Yes, and on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
So everyone in the Overwatch world, if you haven't seen it, go read the post. It's really fascinating. But basically, Jeff dropped a whole huge post.
Which is fantastic.
On the forums about the developers internally testing for the past 2 months a change to 1 tank, 3 DPS, and 2 healers.
Just something they were playing around with, because I guess someone just threw up there, on the forums, hey, what about 3-2-1?
Right.
And he was he just saw that, and it was just hey, funny thing.
I got a funny story for you.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'm on the fence. You kind of convinced me a little bit.
So here's my thinking on it. So the biggest positive that I got from it is that they are actively trying to fix the game and fix the big issues that they're having, namely DPS queue times, because they are outrageously long. The thing that also I think is a big positive, and one reason why I think it could potentially happen. I don't think it's going to, but I do think that this is kind of the extreme, and we're going to get something kind of in the middle. Because I don't think 222 is going to always be the end-all be-all. I do think role queue is here to stay, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be always 2 tanks, 2 healers. That was just like kind of the base thing that most people were going for. I think it's going to be something a little bit different.
Well, it's also a lot of character development in how they've made them, where some tanks aren't tanks.
Right.
Let's be honest. Some of them aren't. Well, and Overwatch is weird in the FPS world because they have tanks. Right.
And not even just that we have tanks, like there's so much damage mitigation that at times it doesn't feel like a shooter. And that's another big issue that a lot of people have felt like it's not a big shooter thing. And that's actually something he addressed. He's like, we were so wanting to emphasize team play and focusing around playing as a team, that everything just kind of went more and more towards that, and we ended up with goats. And now they're kind of, and so like we ended up
NFL in 1950.
Exactly. Like you end up with that, like if you don't play as a team, you are going to get rolled. And I think they're trying, so like they got to that extreme, so now they're trying to kind of bring it back from that to a more middle ground and make it feel more like an FPS.
Make it more feel like doing something if you're playing damage.
Yes. So I think that there's a lot of positives that can come from this. And the fact that he even addressed it, I think shows that they really are trying. And like, they're not just like sitting in the back, just working on PvE or whatever.
Overwatch 2.
Things. Yeah, Overwatch, like the PvE stuff in Overwatch 2, like they're not just working on that. They are still actively developing this game, and it is always in development. And like, and this just kind of shows that like this is their internal testing. They're trying things, and they're just like this. It kind of shows the things that happen, like when you make big changes like this, all the things that have to go into it and the ripple effects. It's like, okay, so you solve this issue. Now that brings up this issue, and we have to address that. And it's just a continual thing. And I think a lot of people don't really seem to grasp that. And this has been pretty divisive from what I've seen.
It's pretty divisive. I mean, there's people like me who I'm on the fence with it. I think at some levels of the game, it's going to be great. And I think at some levels of the game, it's going to be horseshit.
Right.
And I think some levels of the game, it's not going to matter. Like the levels where I play at, nothing matters. Like you guys can, like your Overwatch and all the great fucking, not podcasts, but like the great YouTube stuff where they talk about meta and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. In the metallic levels, bronze to platinum, it doesn't matter because you can scream Diva doesn't matter all you want. In bronze and silver, she's in every fucking game.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking matter. Unless you're getting smurfed and they're playing Orisa Sigma and you have Zarya Diva. But it's like there's certain areas where it's going to work. I think right now they got to work top down. And I normally don't say this. You got to do what's best for the top level because you have this league that we talk about. Mm-hmm. You have no pop-off potential.
Right.
In the league. I mean, bringing it back to where, like, our area, there's no moments. Last year, there were very few moments. One of the coolest moments in the league last year was DeFran going over the roof and grabbing.
Right.
Playing goats. He made goats exciting for 4 seconds.
So, yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? That's like
I'm kind of with you on that. But I do think that at the same time, like, you still have to, you got to look at it and try and do as much as you can to really keep people interested and change things. And that's what's most exciting to me about this. Like, I would love for them to put this on PTR without the intention of ever it seeing the light of day. Just
to see what happens.
Just to see what happens.
But
and that kind of thing I think would be awesome. But I think, honestly, what I see kind of being more so the way it goes is if they do 2 DPS, 1 tank, 1 support, 2 flexes. Or 2 support, 1 flex.
That could be viable. They also have to I think they really have to reevaluate if they're going to do the 1 tank thing. They have to reevaluate who's a tank and who's like your classic off tank. D.Va, Roadhog. He mentioned Roadhog, in fact, and said, they had him as a damage player, which he pretty much is. You'd have to rework his whole, his HP and all that stuff. But just so you don't have matches where your main tank player is a D.Va player, D.Va can't main tank.
Right.
Even same before.
And I would, but then at the same time, you think about it, I would love to see what changes they would make to make Zarya a main tank, because I think that there's a definite possibility that could work. Yeah,
exactly.
There's some really cool potential to make her that, or to keep her or make her as a DPS.
Yeah. Not to be weird, make D.Va a fucking support. Not a healer support, but defense matrix, a support tank.
Yeah, a tradition, like a MOBA type support, like a utility support.
Yeah, utility.
Yeah.
Maybe you would have a utility category where you have, D.Va, Sombra, a couple other heroes in there.
D.Va, Sombra, Zen, maybe. I think there's some really...
in your flex,
definitely some
also
really...
your flex.
And that's the thing is, I love that they're doing this type of thing and really trying to experiment and make the game better and keep...
I love the fact they're talking to us again.
Yes, and then that especially. This was a huge post, and I love...
Yeah.
everything about it, basically.
I play a lot of TFT. I actually haven't been playing a lot recently because I've been, working on our channel and getting stuff. I just haven't had time, which sucks because I really love the game. But the developer, Mort Dog, he streams and he talks about the, all the changes and all the stuff. He's been on podcasts. He was on Little Legends with Blevins. He does stuff with the community and lets them know, hey, look, it's kind of the stuff like Jeff does. It just did in this last post, hey, we're working on things. We're trying different things. Don't worry. But he's out in front and, playing the game with everybody. I know these guys have a lot to do where they're, working on another game. So, streaming, I don't think Jeff's going to be streaming anytime soon. But
just to have these open discussions and how they're constantly tinkering with this game, it's very reassuring. And I think this is going to be a big year of change for this game. Because I'm still pretty convinced it's not going to be anytime soon in this year, but I think by the end of the year we're going to have Overwatch 2. I think and leading up to that, we're going to have some massive changes to a lot of different things that they still have not talked about because they're not ready.
Yeah, I think they want to go free to play. Mm-hmm. I just with the base game, there's just a lot of stuff they got to work on with that. You got cheaters, you got the whole issue that I keep bringing up is smurfing. It hurts the lower ranks.
Yeah.
And you can't have people joining the game for free and then all these fucks and, I have a couple of accounts, but on my other accounts, I play heroes that I'm absolutely more terrible at. So I'm not skewing the play. I do a little bit, I guess, because I know how to position more than people starting to play the game, but they got to figure out, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure they're working on it.
As well as the other aspects that a new ranked system, a new, some kind of guild or just grouping system. I think there's a lot of that kind of stuff that we're going to see this year. And this is just one of the potential changes. But I do think that 222 will not be forever. I think that is almost guaranteed at this point. I don't know if it's going to be 132 or
They might change it to something.
Yeah.
But I think they need to see how this patch works that they just did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm excited. I think there's some different things you could do, especially with high-level players. You know, you could run such a high-speed, what the fuck is going on comp now. Right. With some of the stuff. But that's for later. We gotta start diving into our main discussion, which is going to take a little bit of time because this division is absolutely either stacked or shit.
Yeah, I don't even know what
minus
to think
two
about
teams. It's either going to be stacked or shit.
Basically, there's one team that we know is going to be really good,
and another team that we know is going to be way above average.
Yeah.
The rest of it, up in the air.
It really is.
So let's
start off with the team that we think is going to be really good.
Oh man, this team is going to be. Guys, get ready for this team. The Atlanta Reign. You might be seeing them in September in the finals. At least in my opinion. This team is freaking stacked.
They really are.
The changes they made were fantastic. They shored up some positions in their lineup that, you know, were not a problem, but a little bit of a problem. Especially now we have DPS back in. They got Edison and Erster together, which, oh man, that is going to be sick. And then you throw Sharp in there too.
Yeah, Sharpie. So who is your the most important player to this team?
I think the most important player is going to be Dogman. He has to be more consistent.
See, I would put Dogman more as the X factor of what's going to really elevate this team. But I think the most important is really going to be it's going to be a toss up between Erster and Gator. Yeah, and so for me, Erster, I think he showed when he was able to play DPS last year.
He was absolutely a fucking nut.
He is a god at times, but he's really consistent with that pop off potential, and I think that is going to be huge for this team. But I think also what's going to be big is kind of seeing Gator's development and seeing how much better he got over the off season,
and Hawk as well, and bringing Hawk in
and kind of seeing how they work out together. It's going to be interesting, and I think it's those. I think those two things are really going to be critical to this team's success and really pushing them to be like a truly great team.
Yeah, and this team is fuck you. We're aggressive.
Yes, well, it's that, but they're also super versatile. Gator has a big hero pool. We know Erster has a big hero pool. I mean, between their 4 DPS, they can play any hero at an extremely high level. I think the one thing that could potentially hold this team back is their support line. I love Dogman. He's hilarious and like he's just a great personality.
Yeah, I've been watching. I've been watching his stream a lot though.
Yeah,
yeah, and he looks really good. And goddamn, are they confident too?
Yeah,
he's like, because I was, you know, I'll go in chat and I was like, what do you think? You know, your division's gonna be kind of tough. He's like, no, it's not. Like flat out, he just looked at the camera. And said, our division is not tough. We got this. I was like, oh shit! Like, nice. I love it. But Massa, you know, he's one of our favorites from last year. I mean, he's really solid.
I think he's a great player.
Yeah,
start to finish, like he is just consistently great. I don't think I don't know. I wouldn't say he's like an elite player.
He's close,
but he's so consistently great that it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like he will never lose you a game, but he could win you some.
He's clutch like a motherfucker, that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. There's like points in matches, like even when they were playing goats, you're like, oh, what's going on? Why Mouse is dying? And then all of a sudden, exactly at the moment when they needed him to do something, he would do the impossible. And that's what I like about that guy.
A really clutch boop. He would drop the beat at the right time. Like, he always just had that instinctual time, like that instinctual timing to really turn the tides of a fight.
Yeah. And I mean, and they have leaders on this team too.
They do.
Like Baby Bay. That dude has transformed from like kind of a memey kind of guy at first, and now he's like a veteran leader on this team.
For sure.
And he's a veteran leader on the, we don't give a fuck about what you're doing. We're going to do what we do, and we're going to slam it in your face.
I think he definitely brought that mentality from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, because he was kind of, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one that kind of like instilled that in some of those guys before he left.
Yeah. I would have to agree. And, you know, you got this team has got such swag, though.
They really do.
I really like this team.
I'm excited to see what they do.
The only like thing that I worry about is the tilt if things go bad.
Yeah, I can see that as a concern, but I honestly don't think that'll be an issue because we thought the same thing after DeFran left, and
they went the opposite way.
Yeah, they had 1 or 2 bad games after he left, but then they bounced back, and they bounced back really well. Yeah. So I think that from top to bottom, they're just they look like a really solid organization. They've got some good coaching and just good staff in general to teach these really talented players, and I think that they are a team that I see them at the end of the season.
I see them
4.
I see them higher. I see them.
I mean, 4 is like the lowest. I'm feeling like.
Yeah, I see them at 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I see them, and I think the battles are going to be great between them and San Francisco when they get to play them.
Yeah.
Because
that will be fun.
All the swag boys are going to be in the fucking house, man.
Right.
First half, I see them losing maybe 2 at the most.
That's what I was about. I was thinking about like 2, maybe 3, depending on who they play. Yeah. But even then, that might be pushing it because, like we said, I think their division is either going to be it's feast or famine. They're either going to be there's going to be some teams that are either going to be really good or complete and utter dog shit.
I think most of the teams are going to be middling, except for them and a team.
And even in the teams that are I don't think any of them are really going to be good enough to compete with them. So they're just going to feast on them.
Yeah, they're going to feast on everybody. Yeah. I think close to it at least, minus a couple teams where there's going to be some battles.
But I mean, in the South Division, I really only see Philly kind of giving them any kind of a fight. I think that they're just going to, even if the other teams are all living up to their max potential, I think they would still struggle against Atlanta. Yeah,
and I think their battles with New York are going to be kind of epic.
Oh, yeah.
For the Atlantic on the whole.
Yeah,
and then when they get to play teams like Vancouver and
San
Francisco and some of the other...
The Gladiators.
Well, I'm weird about the Gladiators.
Yeah, we'll see about them.
We'll talk about them in the next episode.
Yeah.
But I see them... If they don't make top 6... fuck, man.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah. I will just blow the whole thing up because there's no way with it. And their coaches chill, which is what they need, because they're all leaders. They know when they fuck up, and they all bring each other up.
Yeah, they don't need a hard ass coach. They just need a coach that is almost like a supporter. Yeah, a guide. Yes, that is exactly.
They need a Sherpa more than they need a coach.
Because they don't need to be pushed or punished or anything like that, because they have all of that, but they just need somebody to help them focus themselves to the right things.
I think Carroll.
Yeah, exactly.
they're the Seahawks in 2014 and 15.
Yeah,
they have that same swag, that same attitude. We're gonna knock your fucking teeth in. You're not gonna beat us.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right.
And if you do, we're still going to, at the end of the day, say we're better than you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's about where we see Atlanta. Let's move on to your team, the Florida Mayhem, and their new color scheme, which we already talked about, but
new attitude.
Yeah, new color scheme, new attitude. No Americans.
Yep. But that's okay. There's days with this team. Okay, I'm just going to lay it out right now. I wake up one day and I say, this team's going to be garbage. And then the next day I wake up and I say, this team should be top 10.
Yeah.
I look at it one day and it's like, why they still got all these fucking GOATs players on their team. They can adapt. That's the next day in the life of a Mayhem fan. I don't think they're going to be bad. I'm just going to lay that out there. I know a lot of people are saying, Fate and Gargoyle aren't going to work. I think it can work. I loved what Gargoyle did last year. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did a lot of the shit when some teams didn't care. He was playing Roadhog a lot, but that was last year. Now, they brought in Yaki and Gangnam Jin. That's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Because now you have a rounded DPS line with BQB. BQB is going to play your weird meta heroes, off meta, whatever you want to call them. Your Sombras, who he was average to above average at last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't the best, but he did good enough.
Yeah.
Yaki and Saya player are going to be your mains, mainstays in the DPS line. Yaki's fantastic. Saya player, if he gets a chance to play Widow or Hanzo or, McCree, any kind of hit scan, anything where, medium to long range kind of DPS, he's lethal. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Chris is my... I want Chris to be good. I feel like Chris, like Houston fans feel about Raucus, in that he hasn't had anyone around him. I think he's good. Let's see what he does with somewhat of a team around him right now. He's got another support that can actually play something that's not fucking mid to low range, ranking. Byram is just a filler. I'm not even going to count him. But I think because he's their leader, like everybody kind of like gravitates towards him, which is kind of odd. I never thought him as that guy on the team. I just think he's the X Factor guy. I think, and I'm going to go with this as a duo. The duo of Fate and Gargoyle have to perform.
I think that's going to be the biggest key for them is those guys really living up to their potential and kind of and doing what they should be able to do if they're going to have any success. I'm with you on those two. I think really the biggest guy for them, honestly, or the X Factor, or them, I would say the X Factor, and then I would say their guy that really needs to kind of be their rock is, I want to say Yaki, honestly, because I like Saya player.
I agree with that.
But I think no matter what, I think Yaki is going to be the guy that's going to be in there all the time.
Yeah.
And I think Saya player and BQB are going to be the guys that swap. But I think Yaki is going to be the guy that's going to be their
main. Because if you really think about it, Saya player is one of my favorites just because he has the good highlight reels and all that.
Yeah.
He's Linkser-ish, Pine-ish in play style. Mm-hmm. He has to have all of the things working. He's not a guy that's going to take over. Well, he's a guy that's going to take over if everything falls into place, where he can play Widow or he can play something where he can just click heads and just annihilate people. I mean, last year he did fucking destroy the Valiant playing Reaper.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching one of my games in that one. He had like some ungodly, like I think he set the record for eliminations or something like that. But Yaki has to be the glue.
I agree.
And I think in order for this team to perform at any level, Fate and Gargoyle have to almost overperform. Like Fate's got to like get back to what he was.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. So where do you see them middle of the season?
Middle of the season, I see them. I'm going to go 5 losses. I'm going to be a little optimistic. So
yeah, I was thinking probably about 5 to 6 losses is where I'm putting them. Middle of the season. I think they're going to finish just above, like right around or above 500 to end the season.
I think that's reasonable. I think they might surprise some teams because, we're playing Florida.
Right.
That kind of thing. And no matter what's happened with the roster and all that, just the history and all the shit.
Yeah.
I think people might catch up to them later in the season. They also could get stronger later in the season, but I haven't really dove into where they're going as far as maybe that was something I should have looked at, like as far as travel and all that stuff. It's going to matter. Mm-hmm. There's some teams whose records are going to be inflated because of playing at home all the time and stuff like that, or playing at teams that have to travel everywhere and all that kind of stuff that we're factoring in, but not factoring in, kind of, stuff we'll talk about more as things flesh themselves out. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
But yeah, I see them being vastly better than they were last year. It's going to be almost like enjoyable to watch.
Yes.
I think could be like you this year.
I think they're going to be a much more fun team to watch, for sure.
Well, at least aesthetically, even.
Yes. Yes.
I have to look like Ronald McDonald running around. And tomorrow I'm gonna do the things that I don't like to do. I'm gonna fucking buy skins.
Yep.
You guys.
Hey, some of those new ones are really dope.
Yeah, the Diva one's fucking incredible.
Yeah,
it's the black.
Yeah,
I think that's the one thing with the Hangzhou one that the Mayhem perfected, the pink blue thing, is they have that flat black, that off black with it. It just looks way better.
It does.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. We ran a little bit long talking about some of the other things going on, so we are going to split this one up. Look for the second part of this episode later on this afternoon. Everybody out there who watches on YouTube, thank you very much for all your support. Thanks for all the likes, subscribes, all of the things you do for us. It's greatly appreciated. Also, everybody listening in podcast land, thank you very much. If you're listening on iTunes, please give us a rating. That'd be great. We'd like to know what we do wrong, what we do right, and all that kind of stuff. And everybody, please take a look at our Patreon page. We are updating that more than we did before. If you'd like to support us and help us out, that would be fantastic. We would love for you guys to do that. Otherwise, feel free to comment down below and keep the conversation rolling about what we talked about so far. We really want to hear what you guys have to say and keep this thing going. And we will see you later on this afternoon. Talk to you guys later.